Hey, this is Tom Jacobs from tdjacobs.com and also healingsuicide.com. And this is part of a series of what are blank people like? So far, I've done Eros and Ceres. Today, it's Persephone. What are Persephone people like? And this is Asteroid 399, if you're curious about that. Um, and Persephone, first of all, with the Roman and Greek names, right? We say like Persephone is the Greek name. Demeter is the Greek name of the mother, but I always use Ceres, the Roman name, right? That dwarf planet used to be an asteroid, and Persephone. So I switch it up a little bit. Don't get confused. Everything's fine. But Proserpine or Persephone. Proserpine is the Roman name. So what is she like? Well, that's why I did the Ceres video first, because she is to a certain degree for a time defined by her relationship to her mother. Her mother is the nurturing, providing, protecting person who kind of overdoes it and kind of smothers and shelters her daughter because she cares. She's very protective. And eventually, Persephone is going to grow up one way or the other. And so in the mythology, she is abducted by Hades and she is made his queen. And I happen to have about that story, I happen to have a more empowering approach to this abduction that's in Living Myth 1, Exploring Archetypal Journeys, that in my book and also in the Asteroid and Centaur course, the Asteroid and Centaur video course. I'm not trying to downplay or minimize the realities of if a child is abducted. I'm not trying to do that at all. But just to help us understand that we have to grow up one way or the other, let's figure it out with Persephone in our charts. So Persephone people sometimes are sheltered or protected or their parents or other people who care about them put words in their mouths or make decisions for them. And they may seem naive. Now, one of the beautiful things about Persephone people is an openness, an open-mindedness, but that can be taken as inexperience and naivete by other people, especially Ceres type caring, nurturing figures who are trying to protect the Persephone person. So Persephone people typically have a youthful thing about them, and they are open-minded, and they might be a little adventurous, and it might seem naive or haphazard or reckless. Sometimes they don't trust themselves because they've been told they can't do this or shouldn't do that, or they should be protected. So other Persephone people grow up overnight and have a lot of wisdom and even street smarts. Some Persephone people don't want conflict, and so they'll take that putting words in the mouth or protection or being provided for, and some of them rebel against it. We can't tell from just looking at the chart which is which. But I want to underscore the open-mindedness. Like when you're looking at something or you're dealing with a project, you've gone over it 22 times and you can't see it clearly anymore and you want a fresh pair of eyes, Persephone people always have a fresh pair of eyes. In a Persephone person, there's this energy of 12, 13 years old. Well, with all of our Persephones, say it this way, there's a part of the self, which is related to this archetype, who has that open-minded youthful spirit who might always seem 12 or 13. Again, impressionable, maybe seems naive or not qualified, may even show up physically as very youthful or with a kind of a childish or very young kind of voice even. That could, and then people hear the person speak and decide he can't take care of himself and, smother him. Anyway, so that can be kind of a physical thing too, where there's some physical thing where they seem younger than they are. But they grow up overnight sometimes in various scenarios. And what I like to say about Persephone is we have to abduct ourselves into maturity regarding whatever part of the chart, whatever part of life, house, and whatever sign, whatever way of being or motivation and methods we, apply to that house. So that we need to abduct ourselves into a mature way of doing something. And so for some Persephone people have figured this out and have crossed the line and they are very mature in this thing, but appear to others not to be, right? Because they have a youthful spirit. Other people are bored with something in their lives and dissatisfied, and they don't know how to change it. And if you're talking with a 12-year-old and the 12-year-old says, I really just don't like my life. And you say, well, fix it. The 12-year-old's going to say, I'm 12, I don't know how to do that. And that's Persephone within us until we learn how to mature that part of us. So we have to make a change. We have to kind of like leap into some new thing with boldness that maybe, might seem like a stretch or too much for us because we've never done it before. So Persephone people sometimes are timid because they've had words put in their mouths and they have been told they can't take care of themselves. Sometimes they'll reject that and they're quite confident because they had to at some point grow up overnight, whether that was pleasant or unpleasant, whether that was, a choice they drove or it was driven for them by external circumstance or other people. But there's a sense of a youthful spirit and maybe some naivete, maybe, but the appearance of naivete surely. Anyway, so anyone who looks up Asteroid 399 and sees it active with the chart, think about, well, and you can do the Asteroid and Centaur video course too, because it will help with this. But there's something you need to abduct yourself into better ways of doing or mature ways of living and doing. Okay, stay tuned for more. I'm going to go through a bunch of asteroids that I use and give you tips and tricks for thoughts and analysis. All right, take care.